Hare Krishna devotees, welcome to our Srimad Bhagavatam Stutis series. We'll continue with Kunti's prayers that she is offering to Lord Krishna. Today's shloka is shloka number 26 of chapter 8, the first canto. Janmaishvarya Shruta Shribihi
Janmaishvarya Shruta Shribihi
Edhamanamadav Puman
Edamanamadav Puman
Naivarhatyabhidhatum Vai
Naivarhatyabhidhatum Vai
Tvamakinchana Gocharam.
Tvam Akinchana Gocharam.
Word for word meaning, translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Janma,
Janma,
birth.
birth.
Aishwarya,
Aishwarya,
opulence.
opulence.
Shruta,
Shruta,
education.
education.
Shribhihi,
Shribihi,
by the possession of beauty.
by the possession of beauty.
Edhamana,
Edhamana,
progressively increasing.
progressively increasing.
Madaha,
Madaha,
intoxication.
intoxication.
Puman,
Puman,
the human being.
the human being.
Na,
Na,
never.
never.
Eva,
Eva,
ever.
ever.
Arhati,
Arhati,
deserves.
deserves.
Abhidhatum,
Abhidhatum,
to address in feeling.
address in feeling.
Why?
I
Certainly.
certainly.
Tvam,
Tvam,
you.
you.
Akinchana Gocharam,
Akinchana Gocharam,
one who is approached easily by the materially exhausted man.
one who is approached easily by the materially exhausted man.
Translation, my Lord,
My Lord,
your lordship can easily be approached,
your lordship can be easily approached,
but only by those who are materially exhausted.
but only by those who are materially exhausted.
One who is on the path of material progress,
One who is on the path of material progress,
trying to improve himself
trying to improve himself
with respectable parentage,
with respectable parentage,
great opulence,
great opulence,
high education,
high education,
and bodily beauty,
and bodily beauty
cannot approach you with sincere feeling.
cannot approach you with sincere feeling.
So Prabhupada is writing in this part here for this particular shloka. Being materially advanced means taking birth in an aristocratic family and possessing great wealth and education and attractive personal beauty. All materialistic men are mad after possessing all these material opulences. And this is known as the advancement of material civilization. So Prabhupada explains in one of his lectures in Mayapur on this particular shloka that na akinchana means not mine. And Prabhupada is recollecting that when he was young, he saw in Howrah that an old poor man was collecting burnt up logs of wood, and some other trash had tied it up and was carrying it around like that was the most important and most valuable possession for him. So Prabhupada says, oh, all of us are in that same mood that, oh, I have got something, I have got something. And this is the material disease. Prabhupada writes, but the result is that by possessing all these material assets, one becomes artificially puffed up, intoxicated by such temporary possessions. So Prabhupada says, doesn't matter how many possessions you have, you don't have a minute of rest. But then the persons who are working really hard to support their families, they come back home and they think, oh, home, sweet home. but so much labor for a little bit of leisure. And this is illusion. This is an intoxication. Consequently, such materially puffed up persons are incapable of uttering the holy name of the Lord by addressing him feelingly, O Govinda, O Krishna. It is said in the Shastras that by once uttering the holy name of the Lord, the sinner gets rid of a quantity of sins that he is unable to commit. That's how powerful the name is. Nam Namakari Bahuda Nijasarva Shakti. You cannot commit as many sins that can be wiped away just by chanting, O Govinda, O Krishna. Such is the power of uttering the holy name of the Lord. There is not the least exaggeration in this statement. Many times we come across statements like this in the scriptures and we think, oh, it's just an exaggeration. It's just to attract your attention. It's just to give you some faith, some hope. Prabhupada is saying, there is no exaggeration in this statement. That you utter the name Govinda or Krishna, and there's just no way you could have performed that many sins that it can't take care of whatever it is that you have committed. Actually, the Lord's holy name has such powerful potency, but there is a quality to such utterances also. So what is the trick here? It is the quality of your utterance. That's why Prabhupada says, the person who is addicted and intoxicated with material things, they don't have that feeling to call Krishna. Hence, it depends on the quality of feeling. A helpless man can feelingly utter the holy name of the Lord, whereas a man who utters the same holy name in great material satisfaction cannot be so sincere. So you can understand why Kunti Maharani is a little worried now. The Lord is leaving, everything has been resolved. There is no sense of helplessness anymore. When you are helpless, you can really cry out to the Lord. But when everything is comfortable in your life, that same sincerity, Prabhupada says, is not there when you chant. A materially puffed up person may utter the holy name of the Lord occasionally, but he is incapable of uttering the name in quality. Therefore, the four principles of material advancement, namely high parentage, good wealth, high education, and attractive beauty, all this that Kunti Maharani is speaking about, are, so to speak, disqualifications for progress on the path of spiritual advancement. Now that's interesting. So if you're born into a wealthy family, it disqualifies you from chanting the holy names. If you're highly educated, it disqualifies you from pursuing the spiritual path. What does Prabhupada mean by disqualified? In the sense that you will have no impetus to chant the holy names of the Lord. Why? Because everything is comfortable for you. Good parents, good wealth, nice beauty, high education. What else you want in life? There's no need for Krishna. Hence, Prabhupada is saying these are disqualifications. It's better to be poor and dependent on Krishna than to be rich and devoid of Krishna. There is a wonderful statement made by Radheshyam Prabhu in one of his classes. He gives this japa talk a day, 10-15 minutes. You can listen to it every day. It's very, very powerful. He says we should be Krishna conscious and Maya cautious. We should be very careful of Maya Devi. She can just entrap us and, suck us away from Krishna any single second. So the material covering of the pure spirit soul is an external feature, as much as fever is an external feature of the unhealthy body. So any disease that you get, it is just a symptom that your body is unhealthy. Similarly, If you're chasing material things, it's a symptom that you're unhealthy, spiritually unhealthy. The general process is to decrease the degree of the fever and not to aggravate it by maltreatment. So if you have high fever, the first thing you prioritize is to reduce the temperature, not increase the temperature. But in material life, that's what we're doing. We are just constantly increasing the temperature and wondering why we are not happy, why we are not comfortable. So we should not aggravate the material fever. Material fever comes with birth itself. And on top of it, we keep feeding it. Sometimes it is seen that spiritually advanced persons become materially impoverished. Actually, there is a pastime where Parikshit Maharaj asked Shukdev Goswami, why is it, I have noticed, that great devotees of Vishnu and Lakshmi Devi, Vishnu and Lakshmi Devi are living in opulence, that their devotees are impoverished. But I noticed that those who worship Durga Devi and Shiva, Lord Shiva, they are living in, like vagabonds, but their devotees are ultra rich, ultra successful. And to that, Shukadev Goswami said, yeah, very nice question you're asking, Parikshit Maharaj. Do you know the same question your grandfather Yudhishthir asked of Krishna? Because he also noticed the same thing. And Krishna responds by saying, it is my special mercy on those devotees who are so great that the more I take away from them, the more they become dependent on me. So actually in that lecture in Mayapur, Prabhupada recollects that he got his instruction from his spiritual master at the age of 26 to go print books, to go preach in the West, to preach in English. And Prabhupada says, I was thinking, no, I'm married, I have children, who's going to take care of the children? So he thought, I have to give up my family to fulfill the instructions of my spiritual master. Then as he gets older and moves to Damodar, Shri Radha Damodar temple, he was getting a dream. In that dream, his spiritual master was saying, take sannyas, take sannyas. And he was thinking, no, how can I become a sannyasi? So Prabhupada says with such humility, he said, I was afraid to give up all of these things. And then he makes a very powerful statement. But my spiritual master forced me. He forced me. And he said, that is his special mercy on me. So if you really want the Lord's mercy, Guru Maharaj's mercy, then you know which direction you should be proceeding in materially. Right? So here Prabhupada is saying the general process is to decrease the degree of the fever and not to aggravate it by maltreatment. So sometimes it is seen that spiritually advanced persons become materially impoverished. I was mentioning that I'm working on the presentation on that exchange of conversation between the Lord and Brahmaji, because Brahmaji does not know what he's supposed to do. Prabhupada says that that tapasya, real tapasya, means to actually do devotional service, to give up everything, body, mind, your consciousness, everything to Krishna. That is a sign of advancement. So Prabhupada explains here that just because you're materially impoverished, but you are becoming spiritually advanced, that's no discouragement. I was listening to one of the lectures on those two shlokas that I'm working on. And it was mentioned in that lecture that Prabhupada had so many challenges in his business. They were successful and then they failed. Not once, but 5 times. From Prayag, he went to Mumbai. From Mumbai to Kolkata. From Kolkata to Ranchi, I think. And then back to Lucknow, and then back to Kolkata. So 5 times Prabhupada's pharmacy business grew and then collapsed. Grew and then collapsed. 5 times. But one thing Prabhupada never gave up on. His unshaken faith and determination in trying to execute the orders of the spiritual master. He was reading, he was trying to give classes, he started an institution. He never gave up his spiritual practices, no matter how many challenges he faced on the material front. Therefore, Prabhupada is saying, this is no discouragement if you fail materially. On the other hand, such impoverishment is a good sign. As much as falling of temperature is a good sign. So if Krishna is taking away things from you, Prabhupada is saying, and you're progressing spiritually, understand it's a good sign your fever is being reduced. The principle of life should be to decrease the degree of material intoxication, which leads one to be more and more illusioned about the aim of life. Grossly illusioned persons are quite unfit for entrance into the kingdom of God. So the only qualification is you want Krishna in your life, you don't want anybody else. Prabhupada says, he quotes Chanakya Pandit's statements in that lecture in Mayapur. Vidyahinam Jivanam Shunyam. That without any knowledge, transcendental knowledge, your life is zero. Disha Shunya Deha Abadvaha. Meaning, if you go to a foreign land and you don't have any friends there, or you don't have any devatas there that you can associate with, your life is zero. Putrahinam Graha Shunya. If a married couple does not have a son, their life is zero. Sarva Shunya Daridrataha. If you are poor, anyway you have nothing. Your life is zero. But Prabhupada explains that the problem is we think we are all secure. We have a family, we are secure. We have property, we are secure. We have a bank balance, we are secure. We think, yes, when I grow old, somebody is there to take care of me. Prabhupada says, we don't understand. It's only Krishna who's taking care of you. So your real protection is coming from Krishna. You cannot even depend on anything that is material. So that means the more possessions that you have, the more attachments that you have, Prabhupada says, the more materially intoxicated you are. And Vedic civilization means voluntarily giving up. That is the whole meaning of the word tapasya. Voluntarily practicing Krishna consciousness for the pleasure of Krishna. So the less things that you have in life, the less attachment you have to things in life, the better off you are. I was just thinking, we accumulate so many things and then we spend time maintaining them. So where will we get time for Krishna? And in that lecture, Prabhupada was saying, if you look at our acharyas, Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, the Goswamis were living under a tree in Vrindavan, open air. And one day a rich merchant came to Sanatana Goswami and said, I'd like to help you, I'd like to serve you, please tell me. He said, my Radha Madan Mohan, he's traveling with me, he's a vagabond like me, he needs a nice house. Can you build him a nice house? Prabhupada says, this is Acharya. They will build big opulent temples, but themselves they will live in poverty. Because then they can do Bhagavat Bhajana, focus on worshipping the Lord. So this is Kunti Devi's mood here, where she's saying, she's afraid. Now I'm going to get a palace. I'm going to live in opulence. My exhaustion, is going to move in the different direction. So if I start progressing materially, then I will not have that feeling of desperation for you. So we have to cry for Krishna. We have to be desperate for Krishna in our life. That is Kunti Devi's mood here. So there is a deep inner, what can you call it, anxiety that the Lord is being separated from her, not just physically, but perhaps spiritually as well. So that fear is always there in every devotee, that some way or the other, you may fall down one day. That fear is always there in every devotee's heart. Can something happen that I will give up Krishna that easily? And Prabhupada says that fear is necessary. That fear is necessary because it keeps you going, because you know you can lose Krishna any minute. So this is Kunti Maharani's mood here in this particular shloka.
If you like our videos, please subscribe to our channel and turn on the bell notification. If you'd like to join our classes every day, please check the details in the description section of this video. We look forward to serving you.